that police officers actually unalive white people more than black people. But the narrative in the media is not that way. I mean, if you look at the number of instances, we've had George Floyd, we've had not really
Trayvon Martin.
he wasn't a police officer, but we'll go with that.
Okay.
And what else? Some other ones. Jordan Davis wasn't a police officer either, but it was a white
Sandra
person.
with Sandra Bland's situation.
Sandra
Was
Bland,
she okay?
Breonna Taylor. And
Okay.
when you get the facts into it, gosh, you find out Breonna Taylor was doing things she shouldn't have been doing. She was doing horrible things. Welcome, welcome, the Linda B family. Welcome to the Linda B Show. We are discussing how Black culture is actually destroying Black America. We're going to be talking about that today on the Linda B Show. Welcome, everybody. It's me, Linda B, and we have a special guest today. We're going to be talking about how Black culture is actually destroying Black America. And I am going to bring in my special guest today.
Hey, y'all. Welcome. Thank you for having me, Miss Linda. So nice to meet your community.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And Linda B family, Antanese has her own YouTube channel. It is called Antanese Too Real, as you can see right there on the screen. So I am going to put the link in the description of this video, and you be sure to check her out. All right, Antanese girl, we got to talk about some stuff today.
Okay.
We just got to keep it 100. I see you call Too Real, and I like it because I like to keep it real. I don't like to sugarcoat. I like to say what needs to be said, okay?
Yes.
And if it hurts somebody, they just say, ouch.
Okay. I'm with it. Let's grab the Band-Aid.
Hey, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off, okay? So look, I've been noticing some things about, of course, we're both Black women,
Right.
and I've been Black a long time, Antanese. But I just wanted to say that I've been seeing things for some decades now, and I don't really like it.
Me either.
Especially since, when did I really start seeing horrible things? In the 90s? I'm going to say the 90s.
Okay.
Say the 90s with the gangster rap and the things like that. Black culture, how is Black culture destroying Black America? See, in my mind, it is really one of the things, and it's not the only thing. I will be on here all day, but
right.
I'm going to kind of isolate it to maybe one or two things. Okay. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk about is the music, the hip hop. What they portray, the lyrics, the style, the verbiage in the lyrics. What do you say in regards to that?
I think a lot of other people may not see it that way, or they don't fully understand like the impact that it has, because it has a really, really big impact. So I'm glad that we're going to be like diving into this and being able to maybe break it down to where people can actually understand why we feel this way and maybe, have a different opinion about it.
Absolutely. And, we can delve into so many things, but, like I said, I started seeing a major decline. The decline started really before I was born, probably the late 60s, maybe, I guess.
Okay.
But I know it really took a turn, in my opinion, like in the 90s, where it was just blatant with the Black on Black crime and all sorts of things. And then in the 80s with the drug epidemic too. So it really started before the 90s. But I focus on the 90s because that's the period that I was just most mentally aware, starting to be more mentally aware. And also I started seeing the bagging pants hanging below the butt, and the music. And at the time, I did not know Jesus, so I was listening to it too,
Right.
I was very young, and I was listening to it. I ain't know what my little skinny butt was popping to, and but if you look at the videos like Tupac, Biggie, and then more recently you got Sexy Red and
Oh yeah.
Pop Ice or Ice Pop, whatever the orange haired
Oh,
girls
Ice Spice. Yes.
Ice Spice. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got you.
Ice Spice. And all the breasts are out. They're flashing money and
Mm-hmm.
their butts are out. And it's been going on since from what I remember, the 90s, with the butts out and everything. And what was that song by Tupac? I can't even remember, but the girls were by the pool and all I saw was A double squared. A squared. That's all I saw is A squared. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
was like, okay, I like the beat, but can you cover all this up?
Right. Now, I'm familiar with Tupac music, but I'll be honest, y'all, I'm like an 80s baby. And my parents were really, they weren't really like strict, but I really couldn't listen to a lot of that music. So I probably started listening to it once I got grown, maybe like as an adult. So I listened to some of like Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and those videos were the videos at one point when I was younger. Those type of videos like came on like late at night. They weren't even shown like during the day because of like the things that were like actually in the video.
Okay, so when your parents told you not to watch something, you obeyed them?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Melinda. Yes. And
See, I guess I just watched. My mama won't be watching this. I guess I watched what I wanted to at the time. And so I am, yeah. I think I just
Okay.
watched what I wanted to at the time. But
Okay.
very young, probably shouldn't have been looking at any of that.
Okay.
Okay, so I shouldn't have been looking at any of that. But I think that plays a part in our culture because a lot of sexuality and sensuality is actually glorified, I believe, with the situation of the body and just the words that we're calling each other in the Black community. The men are using the W word, the B word in the music. And I was just listening to another podcaster, not sure if you're familiar with him, but his name is Vince Everett Ellison. Are you familiar with him? He's written several books.
Yes.
You're familiar with him. He was talking about he's very political. We try not to get political on this channel, but he talks about a particular entity that pushed all of this into the Black community. And we still tend to lean that way when it comes time to vote. But that's the entity, unfortunately, that is responsible for a lot of things that are pushed into us. Now, we still have to take individual responsibility for the choices that we make. Let's be clear. But if you're looking at one of the things that is destructive, the most destructive, if I'm being honest, is not even the music. It's the one-parent household. It is the man not being in the house.
Agreed.
That is like, if you want to destroy a group of people, mess up the family dynamic. That is the number one. I'm telling you guys, Linda B. Fam, that's the number one reason. And when they had that, no man in the house, whatever clause they had back then, and the woman couldn't get benefits unless there was no man in the home, that incentivized being a single parent. And studies have shown, and they're debatable, I guess, if they're accurate, but studies have shown that the one parent, if it's going to be a one parent home, it's better if it's the father than the mother. And that's crazy, right? Yeah, that's hearing and seeing. When it's the one parent and it's the mother, the children tend not to do as well academically and in other ways socially. What's your take on that?
They knew where to start. Once you remove the father, you're removing like the head, like that ultimate control. Like that's how it was set up for the father to lead, for the man to be the head to lead. So if the head like not there, then what is the body? I believe it does play a major part.
It's walking around a headless body.
Right.
Can you live without your head?
No,
I'm just saying, you might be able to
no.
lose an arm, a
Right,
leg, a hand, some
right,
fingers and toes, but can you live without your head?
right. No, you can't.
Mm-mm.
And so that is why it's like slowly dying away.
Yeah, it's something that I feel like it was, maybe purposeful, but that decline right there is what's hurting. And then the boys don't have that male mentorship, maybe, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe some do with uncles or maybe someone that's in their life, but they need their father in their life. And it breaks my heart to see that there are people growing up not even knowing who their father is. I know
Right.
someone very well who I've known for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that this other person I know was the only girl who actually knew who her father was that he dated.
I grew up, of course, like in a two-parent household. But I remember when I was in high school, it was like never heard of it. Seemed like when my friends, like when I transferred to my new school and my friends found out that like I lived in a two-parent household, it was kind of like that wasn't really the norm because a
Hmm.
lot of people were like at that time being raised by single parents.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's
So me and my sister, we had a two-parent household as
okay.
well.
Okay.
And I guess, and I think some of my friends think had two, but a lot of them didn't.
Okay.
And I know now, like my daughters, we have daughters, and
Hmm.
a lot of their friends, it would be like one or two that maybe had, but most of their friends did not have a two-parent household. My oldest daughter,
Okay.
most of her friends did not have a two-parent
Right.
household. And it was just it's very, very sad. They're missing that component that is so necessary. So I do feel like, and I feel like a woman needs that love and attention from her father. Otherwise, she may grow up having daddy issues and be looking for that love that she did not receive. There's a certain balance involved. That's why you need both. There's something that the father provides, there's something that the mother provides.
Right.
And together it is both better for the children. It is, especially if they're Christian and happy, you
Hmm.
know, they're
Right.
happy
Right.
and they love each other and they're doing the right thing by the kids, spending time with them. Those children cannot do anything but flourish.
Right.
They
Agreed.
they can't do anything but flourish. But I wanted to get back on the music thing.
Okay.
Girl, I got to show you this video. It is absolutely now. I was thinking to myself, did I dress like that back in the day? I have my goods out.
Oh, I'm so ashamed. I'm gonna be honest. I did.
Hmm.
And to be honest, a lot of the things that my mom tried to instill in me, I didn't want to hear it at the time. I thought she didn't know what she was talking about. I thought I knew everything. And at that time, what I saw in the music videos were the girls with the up top out, the bottom hanging out the short. So that's what I wanted to do. That's what I thought from what I saw was what I needed to do to attract a man. But with doing that, the type of man I attracted or the attention that came from me dressing like that was just what my mama told me it would be. So I did dress very risky, but I understand the importance of being like a modest woman now that I am covered by like the grace of God. So
Yeah, I mean, because you're going to attract the wrong type of person, just like you said,
right,
you're going to attract the very type of person that you don't need.
right,
Just literally don't need, because a righteous man will not want you walking around disrespecting yourself like that. And
right.
it's just very, we don't know it at the time. I was young and I dressed provocative. I still didn't have my butt hanging out shorts though. I will say
Okay,
that.
okay,
I wore little tight shorts now, but they didn't have the butt cheek. I will say my butt cheeks was covered. But
okay,
I still did other things that should not have been done. But I just want to share this clip with the
okay.
Lindsay fam so they can get what we're talking about here.
Okay.
And this is exactly what is contributing. All right, the music, the culture.
Music will always be an effective tool for communication around the world. It can be used to teach kids the alphabet, it's used in advertising campaigns, and it helps us get into the right mood. However, music can also be used to send negative messages that can influence the thought processes of those who consume it. Now, according to Billboard, hip hop is one of the most popular music genres in the world. And being that it's a genre that was created by black folks, it's no surprise that the largest consumers of hip hop music are us. The problem with rap music nowadays is the negative messages it sends across to the youth, which in turn has now caused a major concern among the black community. Gone are the days when artists used rap music as a tool to speak against societal ills. KRS-One used his music to teach black history, as well as open our eyes to the truth. But it wasn't just the politically charged rappers that made rap music the powerful force it was in the 70s and 80s, because rappers like LL Cool J, who weren't what you would call conscious, used their music to talk about love and make you feel good. Unfortunately, all that would change in the late 80s with the advent of rappers like Ice-T and the NWA, who began pushing a subgenre of rap known as gangsta rap. They took hip-hop in a completely new direction. It used to be centered around the upliftment of black folks by speaking out against racism, segregation, and government policies that were destructive to the black community. Gangsta rappers rapped about guns, selling drugs, sex, gang violence, and even killing their fellow black brothers. Now it seems black folks preferred ignorant music to the conscious ones, because before you knew it, gangsta rap had become far more popular than the original, which promoted peace and upliftment. The NWA sold millions of records when they first came out, and even though they rapped about the ills of police violence on young black men, the way they presented their message was just too explicit.
The violence part of music. We're going to get into the sensual part a little bit
Okay.
later in this video.
Okay.
So I don't know how familiar you are with, NWA. They had a movie out a few years. Well, it might have been 10 years ago.
Okay.
Out of Compton. Do you remember Straight Outta Compton?
Yes.
It was 10 years, sometime not too long ago.
Okay.
And they were playing that music in it, and you saw the culture, you heard the music. And like I said, I don't remember anything like that till the 90s, but he said 80s. Okay, so I just looking at the promotion of violence, it looks like it's just violence and this disrespect of authority. Because, I think black people, our culture, we have an interesting history when it comes to police. It looks like, I grew up watching documentaries of the 60s with black
Mhm.
people being hosed down with the fire hoses. I just remember seeing those little documentary clips. And then you see this in the music videos, and then you see it in the movies when they're talking about, decades prior, how the police, and even now to this day, you can go on social media and you can see black people giving, in my opinion, we in the wrong a lot of times. Now somebody gonna get in my comment section and say, Linda B, why you say that? They targeting us. When somebody tell you you got a knocked out tail light, or you driving on a suspended tag, or whatever the issue may be, or you're speeding and they want to see your license, your behind need to get your license out and your registration like you're supposed to, and that's it. What I see, I'm gonna just tell you, I see people going, why you want that? You ain't getting that, I ain't getting that. Why you stop me? I'm not saying some officers are not wrong. Let me be.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying.
But if they are respectfully saying you were going 20 miles over the speed limit, may I see your license and registration? What's wrong with that? You were 20 miles over the speed limit, boo.
Right.
License and registration out.
Right. Right. So I understand what you're saying, and I agree. However, on the flip side,
Mm-hmm.
in our community, it seems like it's kind of pushed out there to where that's what you're supposed to do. I remember being on, I can't remember if it was like a TikTok live or a YouTube live with somebody, and they were actually talking about this, and it was someone on the video that had like the viewpoint that you have, and I totally agree with. But it was people in the comments that were coming back, like what you said, saying, okay, they target us. But I look at it as, is it really targeting if you're not following like the designated rules? And I'm just calling you out because you're not following the rules. So if you're supposed to have working tail lights, why am I wrong? Because I pulled you over because your tail light doesn't work.
Right.
So I think we have to have the conversation more, maybe about how to handle like situations like that when you are pulled over, because I think the stereotype or the agenda that's pushed out there like in our community, it's like we already have like the mind frame when we get pulled over. Okay, like I automatically got to ask who, because why are you pulling me over?
Right.
And I have been that person, like not anymore, thank God for growth. But yeah, it's like an automatic thing.
And and I don't like to get political on this channel, I'm not going to, but certain things are pushed in the media to make it look like, in the media, I'll just say the media, in my opinion, they amp up the race issue. And I noticed this some years ago. I noticed this probably at least 10 years ago. I'm going to say 10,
Okay.
12 years ago. I say, it's funny how when there's a white officer and a black person, that they don't just say an officer unalived an unarmed teenager. What they say is a white officer unalived, and they don't use the word unalived, I'm just using it because of this platform.
Right.
They say a white police officer unalived a black teenager, instead of just saying an officer unalived a teenager, an unarmed teenager. And one time I listened to the newscast, and it was CNN, and they were saying a white, I could swear, girl, it sounded like she put extra emphasis on white and black. Instead, she said a white officer unalived a black. And you know what that does? It gets
That's all we hear.
all up in our feelings,
right?
And we marching out in the street, and guess what we're doing to our own neighborhoods? Looting black businesses, vandalizing, and doing all of that, and getting into more trouble because you're not supposed to do that.
And but it's okay because it's us. It's okay for us to do it. Just not. But that's another topic for another day.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
We get in our feelings, and then we have a certain view because the media is pushing that narrative. I started figuring it out, like I say, at least 10 years ago. I said, ooh, we. And then it make us get mad, and we start going out in the streets, and then we start vandalizing, and then we got to get locked up because we do it. I said, ooh, it's like waving a carrot in front of somebody to trap them. And there's a trap right there. And you're doing like this, and then you follow them, you follow the carrot into the trap, and then they throw a thing down and lock you up. You see what I'm saying? To me, it's like dangling that racism carrot. And a lot of people are falling for it. They're simply because we're very emotional when it comes to our skin color. That's just my opinion. Sometimes they use it to get us to do things a certain way when we go do our civic duty. But we need to be mindful of not doing that, because it does cause problems in the personal lives of the people that are doing it. Think about it. You a black owned business. This is in their own neighborhood. They're doing this. They're destroying their own neighborhood, not somebody else's, and I'm just saying.
I agree. It's our neighborhood that we are doing it in, and it is like dangling a carrot. We are very emotional. And I'm gonna just have to say it again, because we are very emotional. And so when things happen and we hear that headline that you say we hear, it's like, okay, that's all we heard. We don't care what happened. We don't go look further, not justifying anything, but I'm just saying that's just a headline. We still don't know what actually took place or anything. That's all we hear, and we run with it. And I remember a few years ago. So I'm from Florida,
Okay.
and I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was something. It was like a major event that I mean, a major incident that took place, and BLM was like, excuse me, like it was different. They were protesting in like different cities, and we had a protest in my city, and they were supposed to be down there, I guess, protesting for that particular cause, and unfortunately, someone lost their life.
Mm.
And I just thought about that when we were talking about how, okay, in the neighborhoods, we're looting like our own neighborhoods. We are
Mhm.
vandalizing like our stuff.
Mhm.
Not okay, like not making an excuse, not saying it's okay, but I'm just saying, y'all, we're doing it to ourselves. But then also in the same, like on the other side of the token, we push what we are doing to ourselves off on other people and say that it's them doing it to us. And I'm like, wait, is it really?
That's what I'm saying. We got to start being objective and less emotional and more
Right.
factual.
Agree.
If you look at stats, and I looked at FBI stats, and
Mm-hmm.
this was years ago, and I said, I wonder if what the media is pushing out is true. And I looked up the stats. It literally said that police officers actually unalive white people more than black people. But the narrative in the media is not that way. I mean, if you look at the number of instances, we've had George Floyd, we've had
Mm-hmm.
not really
Trayvon Martin.
he wasn't a police officer, but we'll go with that.
Okay.
And what else? Some other ones. Jordan Davis wasn't a police officer either, but it was a white
Sandra
person.
with Sandra Bland's situation.
Sandra
Was
Bland,
she okay?
Breonna Taylor, and
Okay.
when you get the facts into it, gosh, you find out Breonna Taylor was doing things she shouldn't have been doing. She was doing horrible things. She was doing horrible. That's not what they pushed out in the media, though. They made it look like they barged in, and then her boyfriend actually shot first. You know what I mean? I'm saying, and so you shot first. Then I mean, what a police officer supposed to do? Stand there, and let you continue doing it. So we were not getting the correct information, and I would admit I got emotional and up in my feelings. And I just want everybody to know we're not condoning police officers that get too aggressive. I'm not saying that at all. I don't want anybody in my comment section going off about something because that's not what we're saying. We're
Right.
saying the media is pushing us part of the information and not all of
Mhm.
it. And
Right.
that's when I was so upset with that Trayvon Martin, excuse me, the George Zimmerman verdict, because we weren't given all the facts. I was mad as I don't know what.
I'm talking about we had shirts. The the post, the Facebook post. I look at my memories and I just sit in shame. Like I'm so happy it's a memory, and because I'm like I didn't even know the full. I didn't know the full story. And
They hid it. They didn't tell us. And I'm just like, Lord have mercy.
but then on the
They bait us.
accountability, I should have went and looked a little bit further.
We should have, but I was just watching the news. I thought the
Right.
news was legit. Yeah. Okay, we know better than that now. But there's this narrative that there's this thing to try and divide us against each other, and I really don't like that. But the thing about authority, when you get stopped for something, please just hand them your information. Don't get an attitude. Don't do that. It doesn't have to escalate that far. I saw a video recently where I think the woman's license a plate was expired,
Mm-hmm.
and that sister, she got woo, she got an attitude so bad. I said, Lord have mercy. And he was not mean at all. He was really not. He wasn't. He was like, can you hand me this? But she kept
Mm-hmm.
saying, no, I ain't doing it. Mm-mm. You can't make me. The stereotype that I hate. But she was playing it full throttle.
Right.
And he had to ask her to step out of the car eventually because she was just so combative.
Okay.
So we need to be our culture needs to respect authority more too. But I'm telling you, this the little clip that we just saw with the NWA and Ice-T and all them old school rappers, they were, based on the movie I saw. I'm trying
Hmm.
to remember, did I even hear that music when I was really, 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 really young? I don't remember it, but I just know that it looked like it promoted violence against the police. And once you in it, and you saw where it said it does something to the mind, it causes
Right.
you to think a certain way. We got to be careful. And I say this on my other channel that we need to watch our gates, what we see, what we hear,
Hmm.
because it's doing something. People don't realize it's doing something to you. And it just mentioned that in this little clip here, but I'm going to continue the little clip. Did you
Okay.
have anything else you wanted to say before we continue watching?
No, you actually covered it. In
Oh,
reference to, we have to be mindful. I had made a note about that in reference
mhm.
to what we are intaking.
I say that all the time. I tell people, but I don't know if they're listening. But I watch my gaze. I'm like, I can't be putting all that in me, honey. I'm trying to see Jesus. But
Hmm.
when he come back, I want to be one of the ones caught up. I ain't got time for foolishness now. Okay. So we're going to look at the rest of this.
Do you know that after the release of this particular song, young black males thought it was cool to throw rocks and other harder objects at police cars? Did you also know that compliance with the police also reduced drastically among members of the black community? As for the others who had adopted gangsta rap, they too talked about killing their fellow black men, degrading women, and selling drugs. Yes, rap became very violent in the 90s. Unfortunately for the black community, the kids were always listening. Fast forward to modern day, and rap is still as violent as ever. Biggie was shot, Tupac was shot, King Von was shot, Nipsey Hussle was shot, Takeoff was shot, and the list goes on. Unfortunately, as long as black kids keep idolizing these rappers, then their lyrics will continue to influence how they live in the ghettos. I mean, if a black boy's favorite rapper says shooting a fellow black man is cool, then it'll be hard to convince him that black on black violence, or violence for that matter, is wrong. But it isn't just black boys who are at risk of being destroyed by modern day rap music. Young black girls are also being led astray by the current crop of female rappers who are now dominating the airwaves. Of course, female rap isn't as violent as that of their male counterparts. In this case, the problem lies in the oversexualization of the female body. Rappers like Cardi B, Lil Kim, Nicki Minaj, Sexy Red, and Ice Spice have made it cool for girls to take their clothes off and display their privates on TV and social media. Of course, young black girls will follow suit, but it isn't just explicit dressing that causes concern for young black girls. The lyrics are becoming a problem too. I mean, new school female rappers talk about doing all sorts of nasty things with as many men as they please, probably because they have money and feel that black men should be their boy toys. Now, it's true that everyone has the right to dress as they wish, but let's be honest. No culturally sound black man would want to marry a girl who talks and dresses like a hoe.
Okay, there we go. That is interesting, right? Because the men are doing the violent piece of it and the women are doing the over sexualization, and the men are doing the over sexualization as well, but with having the women in their videos. But the women are the ones exposing the body parts. I mean, really exposing.
It's, I'm going to be honest, it's quite surprising because I grew up, so at the time when I grew up, it was like two people that was kind of out there,
Hmm.
which probably would have been Trina was the original, and then I'll say like Little Kim. I don't really remember like Foxy Brown, but it's like now it's literally almost like every female rapper
Hmm.
is pushing this particular narrative, and it's like it's taking over. It's
Hmm.
literally taking over.
Absolutely. um just to like promote having relations with as many men as possible, having your body out, look at men as a boy toy, flashing money. It's like it is literally, like, in my opinion, the promotion and glorification of all things evil. You know, you've always heard the term sex, drugs, and rock and roll. My pastor, he'll say things like, the devil likes to throw things like guys. If you're a girl, he will throw guys, glory, and gold. And you see them with the guys and the money, flashing the wads of cash, and that is like doing anything to get it. And I think that's what's happening. A lot of my husband watches a lot of clips on social media of women that are asked on a date and they expect the man to pay for them and all they 5 children by 3 or 4 different people. And her friends, or get her nails and her weave done. And he's like, I thought I was just taking you out. And then she was like, "You supposed to take care of me. You want me to go out, I need to look a certain way." I mean, but they act really ghetto when they're saying it, So I mean, what are your thoughts?
So it's what's pushed. And if that's all we, and I'm saying like as like the young woman, that's all they see out there. That's it. Is you gotta be able to take care of me. When you look around, they don't even want the 50-50 households anymore. Is the man gotta do everything? I don't want to do nothing. But get pretty and chill, I guess. I hate it.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry. Like I hate it because when you try to push what I was raised on, what it seemed like a lot of maybe people like was raised on. Now I'm the outcast because I teach my daughters,
Hmm.
cover up. You
Hmm.
don't have to like show yourself to get attention.
Hmm.
Little things like that. It's it's a different time. It's
It
it's
is
a
a different
different
time.
time. It's a different time.
It's a different time, and even around prom season, people will have their prom dresses on. Girl, they split be so high, the neckline so low, and they have their dresses on. And I said, "Ooh," but my girls did not look like that.
Okay.
My girls are very young; they're like
Okay.
20 and 22,
Okay.
and they were covered up, but still fashionable and still pretty. Had the hair, makeup, and their nails were done and everything, but
Mhm.
nothing was really showing, because I believe in fashion, but just make sure you are modest in your
Right.
fashion. I love
Right.
fashion. I
Right.
like dressing up, but there's a way I believe to do it.
Right. It is. I learned that way.
Hmm. I mean, you can be fashionable. You ain't got to dress like, a nun or anything, but you just
Right.
cover up some
Right.
stuff.
It's I don't know what we can do about the music, but I do notice another thing when they were talking about the lyrics. It's like we don't have like no shame, like no embarrassment. Like at one point it was just certain things you would not talk about like out in the open, and now these same things are being broadcasted and played in like millions of households. Like it's pushed like all across the world. It's whew, Lord.
And I remember this, and I like to say this a lot. I say this sometimes. I say the devil is the prince of the air, like he's in the media. Because if you
Mm,
look at the media, the music, the TV shows, the movies, you see what's promoted. You see the different lifestyles that are promoted. You see the debauchery that's promoted. You see the oversexualization, the exposing of body parts that's promoted. So we can only expect that. And
mhm.
it's been going that way, I'm gonna guess, since the 70s, I guess, or maybe the 60s, I guess. But it just because I've seen some old movies and stuff. And I'm like, oh, they were dressing kind of sexy back then. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Even
right.
before I was born, they got little sexy things on, really short skirts, and people started really being sensual. Because I
Mhm,
remember hearing about this event called Woodstock. I remember hearing about that.
mhm.
It's something that happened back in this sometime, I guess, was it the 60s?
Okay.
You never heard of it. People were, it was during
No,
the
but I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, it was part of sexual. I'm a big history buff and I look at documentaries and stuff like that. So people were starting to be free. It was a slogan. They said, make love, not war. And everybody was going around being flower child, sexing with each other. You remember now?
I was gonna say, is that kind of along the lines of the like the hippie era, or
Yes,
no?
yes,
Okay, okay,
yes. And that was what they were promoting back then. And it was
okay,
the sexual
okay.
revolution. And then women were burning their bras. Child was getting crazy. I said the 60s were crazy. Well, my mama could tell me about it. That's just they were crazy. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. The music is destroying people, and it looks like, of course, we mentioned the one parent household
Hmm.
and just this disrespectful authority. So if you guys are watching, especially if you're a young person, just take into heart, we've been where you are right now. And we can tell you that, we were young too. And, I was doing some little things, but not too bad. I wasn't too bad. I never got in trouble with the police. Never did that. But yeah, so it's just a lot. And I feel like I don't know if people are really aware of what is being done to try to manipulate our thinking and to get us to do the things to each other. One of the things too that I noticed was back, because I'm a history buff,
Hmm.
I would look at documentaries from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, 2000s, because CNN had like a documentary thing of all the decades. And I know
Okay.
somebody gonna say CNN. I know. But I thought it was interesting that just the decline of things over each decade and how we were presenting ourselves over each decade. And it's monumental where we are. And I feel like people need to realize there is an agenda. I need y'all to know there is an agenda. I noticed that the late 60s, when the Klan was going around getting rid of black folks, hanging us from trees and everything, I said it looks like once the Klan stopped getting rid of us, then we started getting rid of us. Because I looked up when the Bloods and the Crips became a thing. It was
Hmm.
right after the Civil Rights Movement, right after. And I wonder if that was intentional. I'm just saying it makes your mind want to think, is this something that was done as a way to make up for the fact that, oh, we got civil rights movement laws and stuff now. We can't do this to them, but we can get them to do it to each other.
Hmm. That does make you think, and yeah, that makes you
Mhm.
think. And I'm definitely gonna have to circle back and review this portion of the video after
Mhm.
doing further research, because that's crazy. It escalated. Like it escalated because it's just like the pride, like all of that just went out the door as the years went on.
Mhm.
And I don't think we realize it. I don't think people see it.
Mhm.
And the thing that upsets me the most is I get it. Like if people don't see it, because at one point, Miss Linda, I didn't see it. But when somebody tried to present the information to me, I was open minded to listen. And then something, maybe clicked and I did my own research. But now, even like attempting to share like information like this, it doesn't go over like very well,
Mhm.
like in our community. And
Mm-mm.
it's heartbreaking.
Mm-mm.
Like it's like you're trying to share something with them that they feel is like not going to benefit them, like it's harming them, and it's like, no, I'm really trying to help you.
It's trying to help. I
Right.
mean, we've been programmed to think a certain way.
Hmm.
And I've mentioned this in other shows on my other show, and I'm just like, you know what? If you've gone through a public school system, and I repeat, public school is indoctrinating. It was indoctrinating when we were in school, but it is really indoctrinating now with the alphabet stuff. I think you know what I mean with the
Mhm.
pride and all of that. It is being indoctrinated into us to, it has nothing to do with the rights of other people. It is more about getting us to turn our backs on God, because all of the indoctrination is antithetical to the word of God. And we have to realize everything that they're pushing out there with changing your body. You think you're born in the wrong body. You think there's more than two genders. All of that's against the word of God. Everything they push, it is against the word of God. It has nothing to do with the rights of those people, those people who live like that. It has nothing to do with the rights of Black people. It has everything to do with causing division and getting us to turn away from God, because everything that I just mentioned is a turning away from what's written in the Holy Bible. Every single thing that they're pushing, and it's causing violence. Like,
Mhm.
hate your brother. You're supposed to love each other, but they're getting
Mhm.
rid of each other.
Right.
You're promoting the love of money. The Bible
Mhm.
says the love of money is the root of all evil. Everything that is promoted is antithetical to the word. Everything. A woman
Literally.
is to be modest in her dress. Nothing is right.
Right.
Nothing is right.
It's complete. It's completely opposite
It's
of,
complete. It's a turning
yeah.
away.
It's, and when you think about it, it started a long time ago. It
It did.
started like so long ago, and maybe people saw it, but they couldn't get enough people to actually, I guess, believe in that particular movement to try and turn things around or share information to where people are more informed. But it's completely opposite. And
Mhm.
I hope one day maybe I can join you on the other side so we can go deeper into exactly how opposite it is. Because yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, woo, it's horrible out here, and it looks like, we as the Black people are doing horrible things to each other. And I can't get over the fact that once the Klan stopped hanging Black people from trees in the 60s, then we started doing things to each other to get rid of each other. Because in the 90s, they had this thing going, black on black crime. In the early 2000s, they were saying, stop the killing, stop the, get rid of each other, stop the unaliving, stop the unaliving. I remember stickers on people's bumpers, car bumpers, stop doing this. But now we don't do that. It's like when we do something wrong, it's almost like we get a pass. It's like, why are you doing something to me? It's because of racism that I'm doing this. When you do the crime, you do the time, I don't want to hear nothing. You can't just be allowed to run Rome and grape, I gotta say, grape people and
Mhm.
unalive them and do all that, and we're not supposed to do anything because you Black. You getting rid of other Black people, because who do we commit crimes against the most?
Us, ourselves, each other.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to just let you, because that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It really is. It really is. So
No, we're not doing this. You did this. You do the time. You did this. I'm not protecting the criminal. I'm protecting the victims and other people so that this doesn't continue to happen. Most people are minding their own business, working hard, trying to live a nice, quiet life, save up for retirement, send their children to college, and you come up in here messing up. No,
right,
no.
mess and really making it bad for the others because at some point, because it happens so much, then you can't help but think, okay, is this like is this it? Is this the culture? Is this how everyone is? Because this is all I see. I don't.
Hmm.
It's a lot, Miss Nicole.
Oh, it's a lot, honey. It's absolutely a mess. But I thank you so much for joining me on my show.
Okay, Linda. Like,
Yeah, but
but
I
yeah,
appreciate you so much. And everybody, the Linda B fam, guys, you got to check her out. Antanese Too Real. I'll leave the link in the description. You check her out. She is real. And I love it when people are real.
thank you
Well,
so
you
much.
have a great time. And thank you so much for being on my show. You have a great evening. And this will drop tonight at 10 p.m. I'm gonna try. It might be a little later because
Okay.
it's already kind of late and I gotta edit it. But thank
Okay.
you so much for joining, and you have a great evening, girl. All right. The Linda B fam, that was Antanese Too Real. Check her out. And you all, I'm going to leave the link to her channel in the description. You all be blessed. And remember, watch those eyes and ear gates, Linda B fam. Until next time.